What do you know about the Prophet Muhammad? We've established nothing. You are ignorant.
I know that you're deliberately insulting
people. What do you know
people
about the Prophet? How am I insulting people?
Who have deeply held religious beliefs.
And if
you flouncing the Quran around in your hand in that disgraceful manner is outrageous.
This book is the reason we're in such a mess. No. That's a reality.
No, we're in this mess because people take Islam, they are terrorists, and they abuse the nature of Islam and the wording of Islam, and they perpetrate evil, and it is completely wrong. For you to try and claim that the vast majority of Muslims, who are decent, law-abiding people, to try and abuse and mock their faith and their holy book is an outrage.
Their holy book. When you talk, okay, so when the sacred months are passed, slay the non-Muslims wherever you find them and take them captive and besiege them and prepare for them in ambush. Who's slaying who? I'm not inciting hatred. This calls for my death.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. Owen Schroyer, David Knight, filling in for Alex today. And we are joined by Tommy Robinson. A lot to talk about with Tommy. He's got some charitable campaigns, some awareness campaigns that he is going through right now. He's being celebrated now in England. One video I'll never forget, Tommy, you're walking down the streets and you have an entire crowd chanting, "Tommy, Tommy, Tommy." That had to be wild for you. But I think that the thing that my audience here, that our audience wants to hear about is your experience with Piers Morgan. Obviously, Alex Jones had a famous interchange with Piers Morgan some years ago that, well, it kind of dealt a serious blow to Piers Morgan. I think that you may now have dealt another haymaker to Piers Morgan. Tell us about your experience.
I think that the problem is with people like Piers Morgan, they're not in touch with the people. And I think he thought he'd be a white knight by trying to absolutely crucify me. And it's quite the opposite. I don't think they realise that the interaction we're having with the general public and the support we're getting from the general public. So, yeah, he hasn't had a very good reaction to his response to me. It was the typical, I was basing my argument on facts. I was trying to argue facts, and he just wanted to shout insults and label me as a bigot, as a fascist, and the usual, which, to be honest, people in our country especially, maybe not in the establishment, but people in the general public are sick to death of that now. They're sick to death of, because that is it's not an argument. He didn't have an argument.
And that's what he did here in America, too. He came to America, and he decided with his American show that he was going to tell us what we didn't know, that we needed to give up our guns and turn them in and not have the ability to protect ourselves. And he would run one program after the other until he ran his program into the ground. And what he'd do is he'd have people on who were very articulate, effective spokespersons for the rational reasons as to why we should be able to protect ourselves, not only constitutional reasons, but also pragmatic reasons. And he would just talk over them. He wouldn't let them get a word in edgewise. That was his strategy. That's why when Alex went on and he just shut him down with his 1776 rant, that was the perfect way to handle Piers Morgan.
I remember his rant. I remember Alex's response to it. But I was sat there, and at first I tried. At first I thought, right, I'll try and see if I can. And the longer I sat there, the more he was talking. I wasn't getting a chance to talk. And I thought, unless I try and shout back, unless I try and argue back over him and talk over him, I'm not going to get a chance to get him a point across. And to be honest, with Piers Morgan's background in the UK, with what he's been involved in hacking of dead children's phones.
Yeah.
Okay. He was involved in the doctoring of photos, which were put on the front page of his newspaper at the time, which brought our armed forces into disrepute. It destroyed their reputation because it was pictures that were doctored to make it look like our armed forces were torturing people in Iraq. So he's a man whose morals go completely out the window. And I could have come at him with all of these things, but I made the point not to, because with a spot like that on TV, I feel it's my job. I'm doing a public service to debate the issues that people are desperate to have heard. They're not bothered about hearing about what Piers Morgan done 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or what Tommy Robinson said 8 years ago at a demonstration. They're bothered about the reason why we have dead children in our cities getting blown to pieces, why we've had 3 terrorist attacks in 3 months, why they've had 5 planned, why 12 terrorist attacks were stopped last year. That's what they're bothered about. They're bothered about finding a solution to it, about having the debate about it. But all Piers tried to do was shut that down and stop it.
You know, that is the fundamental difference right now in the two diametrically opposed sides right now on planet Earth, where You're coming at the issue saying, here's the issue. This is what people want to hear. You're tuned in. You're locked in. You're engaged with the people, where Piers Morgan still has this dinosaur train of thought that I think most mainstream media has, where they think the people want to hear you complain. They think the people want to hear you say, this is how we're bad. This is how we need to be better. This is how we need to be more tolerant. This is how we're racist. This is how we're sexist. This is how we should be better. This is what's wrong with us. People are over that. They're done with that. They see real issues affecting them in their daily lives. That's what they want to address, not some labeling contest.
Do you know this show? This show, that was the biggest audience they've ever had. For that show ever. So they really need to be in tune here, which they're not. They're really underestimating the support we have. They're really underestimating how many people are desperate for this conversation to be had, desperate to hear the fact, desperate to find solutions, not as you're right, shouted down and silenced, which is what has been happening for so long. If you look, when I picked up the Quran, they were terrified. The whole studio.
Oh, yeah.
I could see the alarm bells running straight away. I could see their reaction. Put it down, put it down, put it down. He probably had an earpiece in, screaming at him. Stop. And that, when we talk about Islamophobia, if there was a term, which there isn't, if there was any issue of Islamophobia, then that is it. The fact that the whole studio and the presenter were absolutely petrified because I picked up a book.
Well, wait a second.
That defines what it is. At the same time, you've got Justin Trudeau this weekend wearing Islam-themed Ramadan socks to an LGBT pride parade. And it's like, how do you even try to explain that kind of cognitive dissonance to these people? They don't realize how diametrically opposed these people are. And so that's why they don't want you holding the Quran. They don't want you talking about what it is in reality. They don't want you talking about the heavy political dimensions of this religion. And that's what they're trying to cover up. That's what they think they can deceive the public with. And they can wear, again, as we see the picture of him wearing Islamic socks to an LGBT pride parade. Like, I mean, it's absolute insanity what they're telling people.
It's almost like they're shoving it right in your face. But the most amazing thing to me is they're going to sit here and they'll point at Tommy Robinson and they'll say, Tommy Robinson is an Islamophobe. Tommy Robinson is going to cause Islamic violence. And you scratch your head and you're like, wait a second, doesn't that make you the Islamophobe? How are you not the Islamophobe if you're the one that's afraid of these people committing violence just because you're talking about it? I mean, this is the reality we're living with. Tommy, I know that you're actually running some charitable campaigns right now. You want to raise some awareness. You're trying to look for solutions. You're trying to bring the community together. Tell us about these.
So we're running one campaign called Justice for Chelsea. Now, Chelsea was a young mother of three who was on a night out with her mother. She was by Syrian refugees. She was violently beaten with injuries.
Hey, you know what, guys? Let's give this a second for this connection to restabilize, because he was explaining this. JusticeForChelsea.com. If you guys could pull that website back up.
It started breaking up on you, Tommy, when you were talking.
Yeah, start over, Tommy. Go ahead.
Okay, mother of three. She was out with her mother, and she was gang raped by Syrian refugees. Now, the police arrested 6 men. They found 2 of their DNAs on her and in her. And from this, the police support no further action has been brought.
Really?
So,
man.
We've then launched a campaign, because no one even hears about these stories. We've launched a campaign where we told her story. We interviewed her. It went viral in the UK, and we've held demonstration after demonstration. We've gained over 100,000 stickers. We've now some of the UK's best lawyers to go against the police on this, to challenge the Crown Prosecution Service's decision not to bring any charges. And obviously, the campaign we're running on the website is for people to donate to help us with legal costs and hopefully bring justice for this young English mother of three.
So that's the theme that we continue to see over and over again. Just as we had this recent terror attack where they had featured these people as the jihadis next door, but they refused to do anything to protect the British people, and they refused to do it even after an attack. That's what's so amazing about the government there. And of course, as you know, just like we see here in America, it's both parties that are involved, the key parties. It's conservatives as well as Labour that are standing down and not doing anything in the UK, just as we see the same thing happening here with Republicans and with Democrats.
Well, we've had, as you know, in the UK, we've had conspiracy of silence between political leaders, religious leaders, and police leaders. Facilitate the rape of our women in towns and cities like Rotherham, across our whole country. Now, what's happened with Chelsea is, and we don't know yet because we're having to hire private investigators to find who the men were, because maybe, just maybe, these men were part of a government program. Now, maybe, as they're arrested for rape, maybe that's why this has been shelved. Maybe that's why they have not been prosecuted. That's what we need to find out. Why? Why these men? It's quite clear. I actually went and I contacted, on the video we done for the Justice for Chelsea campaign, I contacted an eyewitness who didn't know Chelsea, who saw her running from the house naked, without her clothes, and being dragged back in. Her clothes that she wore out that night have still never been found. So these are campaigns where this can't be happening to women in our towns and cities. And this isn't just, we're about to launch another campaign tomorrow, similar, where in the same city as Chelsea, a young English businessman, on the front of his shop, he put "Don't Fund Terror, shop at Fletcher's." 7 times the police visited him in 2 weeks. 7 times asking him, telling him, warning him that he needs to take down the sign that says "Don't fund terrorism." Now, because he said no, they then looked and got the council involved to take away his licenses to sell alcohol.
Wow.
To affect his ability to provide for his family. Now, this is bullying. This is what goes on across our whole country. Now, since this, again, this does go live tomorrow.
We got to go to a break. Our guest, Tommy Robinson, is on Skype right now. We're going to have him back for the other segment, but that is amazing. Shutting down a shop, it didn't say anything except "don't fund terrorism." It doesn't allude to who the terrorist might be or anything. It just says "don't fund terrorism." Well, that's hate speech. We gotta shut that down, said the British police.